If you're using VectorWorks Architect, there's also an object called the Repetitive Unit tool. The Repetitive Unit tool has an opportunity to choose symbols, and the symbols divide up into files, or in your computer they represent folders. So there's flooring and decking, framing, and I've got all these framing symbols in my one, and they're designed to go with I've designed these symbols to go with the repetitive unit, so they're actually sitting in a special way. They're sitting up, whereas all my other timber symbols are lying down flat. And the idea of that is that I can draw that. I don't want to use the symbol pitch, I want to use the 400 millimeters. So you can draw these repetitive units. Those are supposed to look like floor framing, and you can also take control over the files that the repetitive unit looks at. And the idea of taking control of that file is that you can then control the look of the symbols, you can then control the line weight, all that kind of stuff, and it makes these really quick. So if I go back to my repetitive unit and I choose, for example, I want to use siding, and I want to use my linear weatherboard, it puts weatherboards up my wall. Very quick, very easy, but I needed to build that linear weatherboard with the right orientation. Let me show you how to do that. I need to open the files that all these folders, I need to open the files that all these symbols are in. So let's go find those. Here's the folder in your VectorWorks folder with the repetitive unit. And you can see that framing has its own folder, and siding has its own folder. So for example, in my siding file, you find there's only one object, I think, which is this one. If I double click on it, there's the insertion point. Now you notice that a couple of things. One is that my siding is laying down on its side, and also that its insertion point is back here, not on the edge of the object, but it's actually where the next one should join it. If I go back to look at my framing, let's look at my framing symbols. The framing symbols are standing upright, and their insertion point is still the bottom left corner, but the symbols have been rotated so they stand upright. And that makes it easy for me to do these things that I just showed you here. So take control over this folder, the repetitive unit folders, and take control over the files that are inside it so that you can make the repetitive unit work very quickly for you. I like this tool a lot, because if I have that sort of timber and I want to change it to a different size, if I want to change the pitch, I can make it 600 millimeters. Just so quick to use.